This week's video is dedicated to answering a question from Matthew Hicks on Facebook, who said, Cyberpunk stenographer, ? And at first when I saw that, I kind of chuckled. I'm very used to seeing people ask if this device here is a steno writer, because it is a Chording-enabled device, so for better or worse, it does get confused with steno a lot. My short answer when somebody asks that is no, absolutely not. It is not steno. In this video, I'll recover some of those key differences on the design intent, just the switch technology. Everything about it is different than steno. It's really a lot closer to your keyboard on your desk than it is to stenography. But the term Cyberpunk Steno just sort of stuck in my head after I saw it here. And I'm wondering if that could actually be an effective way to describe this to somebody who is a complete outsider and doesn't really understand steno or doesn't understand, the Masterforge and Caracorder technology. So we're going to break down those key differences in this video, and we're going to try and decide together, yes or no, is the Masterforge Cyberpunk Steno? We've had quite a bit of traffic on the Discord since we launched the Kickstarter, and this question here I thought would be a good starting place. From Pierre WJ, he says, I'm posting here because discussing Caracorder on another Discord server, someone very affirmatively affirmed that Caracorder was some kind of steno writing. Could someone involved in the development of Caracorder elaborate on the possible kinship and the differences between steno writing and Caracorder? Thanks in advance. Before we get into my response, I think it's really important for us to define our terms, because there's even a difference between stenograph with a big S versus stenograph with a little s. So Stenograph Big S is a company that makes this machine, or many versions of this machine here, which is called a stenograph with a small s. And it has pretty much been this exact same layout here since this machine was invented, and the company was founded by a guy named Wardstone Ireland here in 1911. If you want to learn more about the history of stenography and corded text entry in general, I put together a timeline for this other video here called A Brief History of Corded Text Entry, and I think it does a really good job of showing the evolution and what innovations have happened in the past 100 plus years since this layout in this machine was originally invented. So for the rest of this video, when I say steno, what I'm referring to is the Wardstone Ireland layout that you see right here. And most people, if you hear them discussing steno in the modern day, that's probably what they're talking about. In reality, the definition of stenography is much broader than that. It is the action or process of writing in shorthand and taking dictation. And I think that's actually a great transition into the first point that I make back on the Discord is the design intent of the device. If you look at the design intent of a stenograph versus the Masterforge here, they are drastically different. All right, back in the Discord, and I'm going to read through my response here. I say, here is my super concentrated bare bones logic on why I believe Wardstone Ireland steno writers are not optimal as a keyboard replacement. And keep in mind, this is not a critique or an attack on Wardstone Ireland steno, because the device was never intended or meant or designed to be a keyboard replacement. It was invented way before computers, way before keyboards, and the purpose of the design was for dictation, was for capturing the spoken word, and it is 100% viable and adequate for performing the task that it was designed to do. So one of the biggest reasons why Wardstone Ireland steno is not optimal as a keyboard replacement is because you have to chord pretty much everything. Like on a keyboard, if you want to type the letter Z, you hit the letter Z. But on a steno writer, you pull up the layout again. You have to hit S, T, K, P, W, Z. So that would be a harder example of finger spelling. An easier example might be, say up here, the letter B. You have to remember it's P, W, and B. All those together will output the letter B. And remember, a full-size keyboard has 100 buttons on it, and only 26 of those are letters. So yes, it is absolutely possible to use a Steno writer as a keyboard replacement, but there's some tasks that it requires a greatly increased mental load. And even if you do memorize all this stuff, if you have chords for every single input on your keyboard, it's still just painfully slow to type that way. And the reason for that is called chording tax, is what I call it. I don't think the stenography community actually has a term for this, but they of course do recognize that finger spelling, what I call microchording, or pressing multiple buttons to output individual letters, it's very slow. And they say here is not very fast compared to stenography or even typing. If you can finger spell between 40 and 60 words per minute, that is insane speed. I can guarantee you right now that I cannot reach those speeds using finger spelling, but I can type at least twice that fast using just normal character entry. So going back to chording tax, this is the idea that even ignoring mental load, chorded strokes are not equivalent in speed to character strokes. So for instance, if I'm typing, and I think I have this example here too, if I'm typing the on a keyboard and I do that in one stroke for a chord, that doesn't mean that it's 4 times faster than me doing 4 strokes for THE spacebar. Because whenever I'm hitting the E or the spacebar, it's possible that the T is still pressed. So it's almost like a burst fire. Whereas when I chord it, or if I'm chording individual letters, I have to have an interrupting release between every stroke. So not only is it greatly increasing your mental load whenever you want to type character entry, it also is just going to make you basically feel like a toddler whenever you're typing. The experience on the Masterforge is completely different. There's no need to fingerspell really ever. If you want to type the letter Q, you press the letter Q. If you want to type the letter K, you press the letter K. If you want to type the letter Z, you press the letter Z, and so on and so forth. It's a lot closer to what you're probably used to using on a QWERTY keyboard. Then once you have a solid foundation in that QWERTY style character entry, that's when you can start incorporating chords into your typing. So even without chording, I can type faster on this than I can on a QWERTY keyboard. Even without chording, I greatly prefer this as a keyboard replacement. And keep in mind, you don't have to learn a new layout in order to benefit from this technology. This keyboard back here, this QWERTY style keyboard, can also be used for fluid chorded character entry. If you don't want to relearn the 3-dimensional switches, if you want to just build upon your existing QWERTY muscle memory, say you've been using a QWERTY for 40 years or something and you don't want to relearn how to type, that is totally understandable. And real quick before we move on, let's actually do a demonstration of this. Go make a custom typing test with a repeating short word like on, and compare your scores when taking the test in character entry versus chorded entry. This will help you understand your raw diminishing returns as it pertains to chording versus normal typing. All right, I've got the typing test set up, so I'm typing the word on 10 times. And first I'm going to use only chording. On. It's about 180 words per minute. That seems about right. It's probably around what I would average on such a test. I could probably get faster if I really tried. But let's do it in character entry now. On. So 130 words per minute. So again, even though I'm reducing my keystrokes by 3 times, I'm not typing 3 times faster. And that's because of that interrupting release that comes with every chord. So, and I covered this in a recent video about compound chording and dynamic libraries, those diminishing returns, and when is it worth it and when is it not worth it to chord. If you're only using it for 2 or 3 letters per chord, you're really not saving that much time, if any at all. All right, I'm going to take that test again, but I'm going to add 1 letter onto the word so I get a little bit of an extra advantage per chord. 213, And then now I'm going to take the same test, but only character entry. Shoot. Try it again. Okay, about 120 again. And probably any test that I take in character entry will stay around that 120 mark. I will do that test one more time, but now I'm going to get 8 characters per stroke rather than 4 characters per stroke when I chord. So yeah, almost exactly twice as fast as before. All right, I lied. We're going to take this test one more time, but this time I'm going to be only getting 2 characters per chord. Let's pretend I had a chord for a spacebar, which I don't in real life, but just for the sake of science, we're going to go ahead and do that. 92. So slightly faster in character entry than in chording in that case. And again, this is just me. Everybody should, do their own tests like this, I think, in order to calibrate and better understand your own personal diminishing returns as it comes to chording. Because some people that are highly proficient in character entry, that are way faster than me, may only see a speed benefit whenever they're chording words that are, say, 4 letters or higher, or 5 letters or higher. I don't know. That's sort of the beautiful thing about having this device, which is layout and theory agnostic, and why we see different theories and different styles of use. So that's a good transition into understanding why some theories in stenography are more or less efficient than others. For instance, Phoenix is a phonetically intense theory which more strictly adheres to Wardstone Ireland's original design intent of the machine, where the left half of the device is the first half of a syllable and the right half of the device is the second half of a syllable. That's why you see letters and sounds duplicated on both halves of the machine. Whereas theories like Magnum, which was invented by Mark Kislingbury, venture beyond that core phonetic design intent and just gives you greater characters per stroke, and which ultimately has a much higher speed potential. That's why Mark Kislingbury is the world record holder when it comes to stenography. I also think it's very important to recognize that words per minute is an extremely flawed way of measuring and capturing human-computer interaction, especially when you're comparing across all these different categories of input devices. So when a stenographer says that they're certified at 225 words per minute, they're probably referring to this particular test right here. If you go to the NCRA website, the National Court Reporters Association website, you can see all these different tests and all these different certifications that they get. And getting certified at 225 means that you have 3 5-minute skills tests, and then after the dictation of that 15 minutes of audio, you then have 75 minutes to transcribe and submit a final transcript, at which time you must have a 95% accuracy on each leg in order to pass the exam. I think most people outside the stenography world are just not really aware of this. But this is a great video in order to understand what a stenographer means when they say that I type, in this case, 370 words per minute. As insanely impressive as this is, it's different than scoring 370 words per minute on some online typing test. Just the whole goal, and again, going back to the design intent of the device, is completely different. So it started here.
70 words per minute. Ready? Begin. Good morning, my name is Mary, and I will be asking you some questions that day.
I don't recall at this time.
Okay, what time of the day did this take place?
I don't recall the time.
Did you...
All right, so he started the test at 10:11, and the audio goes for until 10:12. So it's about 1 minute of audio speaking at 370 words per minute.
All right.
Got a nice audience, nice supportive audience here. All right, and now he starts another timer. And this is the time that he has to edit the transcript that he's created with a QWERTY keyboard in order to get it as accurate as possible. And he's not allowed to listen to a recording again of what happened. He has to only look at the raw steno on the right side here. Let me move my face. He only looks at this raw steno, and then he's able to edit it based on the strokes that he made. Because, of course, at 370 words per minute on his first attempt, first time ever hearing this, he's not going to be perfect. All right, so I'll fast forward. All right, so he edits that text, that 1 minute transcript for 22 minutes, and then I don't know what level of accuracy he's required to have in order to pass the test, but if it was the NCRA, it would be 95%. So once again, Mark Kislingbury, the world's fastest stenographer and inventor of the Magnum steno theory. I owe Mark so much. I consider him as a friend and a mentor. He's a great guy, a fantastic chess player too. Mark, if you're watching this, we're overdue for a game. Mark just has done so much for me in terms of helping me understand the world of stenography, and also in terms of his audacity to venture out beyond that original design intent of Wardstone Ireland has really helped inform the development of Caracorder and will continue to inform that. So thanks, Mark. That's probably enough substance for one video. I'm not going to get into things like held key functionalities and using the device for gaming, which is probably a lot more self-evident to the average outsider on why you can't really use Steno for that. But any time that I make a video related to Steno, I just want to make sure I reiterate this. I am not here to convert stenographers. Caracorder is quite controversial in a lot of stenography circles. Stenography is under attack in a lot of ways. There's many active threats to the existence of stenography. A lot of countries have stopped using stenographers altogether. There's like digital reporters, AI, there's voice reporters. There's a lot going on in that world that I really just try and distance myself from. But I really just have the deepest respect for stenography, and there's a lot that I think can be integrated into Caracorder as a layout and theory agnostic system that can help stenography to live on. Of course, our mission is to get the whole world to type at the speed of thought, and Steno users is a very small percentage of that, but I would love still to see a hobbyist Steno machine that is powered by Caracorder engine. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from using Steno layouts and theories on our existing devices either. But yeah, so my door is always open to anyone in the stenography world that may want to make that reality. I will help you however I can. So going back to our original question, is the Masterforge Cyberpunk Steno? I really don't know. So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. I would much rather it be called Cyberpunk Steno than Steno, first of all, because I think not just aesthetically, but the calling it Cyberpunk Steno, I think does sort of imply that it is not Steno, but perhaps some distant, estranged cousin to Steno. The whole idea of like cyborg culture, like there's this tweet, hold on, pull it up, this tweet that I posted on LinkedIn. This guy says, with AGI looming, it's hard to know what to do with one's time. I feel like I should be preparing, but I'm at a loss for what preparation looks like. And then this guy replied and said, buy a Caracorder and increase your bandwidth of communication. And then the official Caracorder account says, Our new slogan, join the rebellion and fight your AI overlords at the speed of thought. And it's obviously it's a joke, but the idea of not relying on our computers and our AIs to do everything for us, but to look inwards. And I do very much see the Master Forge as an extension of my brain. So there is a bit of like the cyborg merging man and machine, leaning into the human and human computer interaction, and also leaning into human error. Looking at technologies like text entanglement. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. There is an element of just raw pragmatism associated with Cyberpunk that I do think is relatively aligned with the Forge keyboard brand. Personally, I wouldn't call the Master Forge any type of Steno, but I won't be offended if you call it Cyberpunk Steno. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is week 37 of Caracorder updates every week until the whole world can type at the speed of thought.